Alright, so for a while now, I've wanted to make a video on my homemade forks for my Coyote tractor. I made this set of forks here, the whole assembly, for about 90 bucks. So this plate here is just a quick attach skid steer plate that when I got it, it was just plain. And I got two of them. I got that one and I got that one, and that's just been sitting there forever. I haven't done anything with it yet, but I got two of them for 180 bucks, so they were 90 a piece. And the forks, I had actually asked somebody at a big warehouse that has a ton of forklifts. I said, hey, do you ever have extra forks? And they said, yeah, all the time, because if they get bent, then they're required to get new ones. It's a safety thing. I don't know if it's an OSHA thing or whatever, but apparently this set was bent just a little bit, and I said, if you have any old ones, I'll pay you for them, and they just gave them to me. So that's how I came about getting these forks, and I can't even tell that they're bent. The only reason it's sitting funny right now is because my concrete is, I have a big crack in the middle of my garage, but they're pretty straight. And I would think that there's, some sort of standard size forklift forks. They're about 43 to the end. And so I made this myself. And what I did was, on the back of these forks, there was another piece of metal about right here, I think, or maybe it was way down there. No, I think it was way down there. And these two pieces like cradled the mast or whatever it's called, and you were able to slide them around and adjust them and all that. Well, I cut the bottom ones off and I ground it nice and flush. That way I could hang these forks on the top of this quick attach plate, because I didn't want my welds to be the only thing that's keeping the forks fastened down to the plate. And so I actually hung these forks on top of the plate, welded up here, and then I threw a couple really tiny welds down just to test it and make sure it was good and everything. And I've been using it like this for 2 years or more. This whole time I was supposed to do more welding, and I didn't. So I think that's actually kind of funny, and I cannot believe that they haven't broke yet. The welds, I mean. Because I've lifted some pretty heavy stuff and put these forks under a lot of tension. I've had these forks bending before. So if any of these welds broke, or one of these came detached, it would have been catastrophic. But obviously, the width of these forks is permanent, but I did measure it out. I measured basically a bunch of different size pallets, and I just measured the most common distance to get underneath of a 4-way pallet, and this is what I came up with. And if you're curious, it's about 25.5 outside to outside, or it's about 17 3/4 on the inside, in between the inside. So basically these forks fit in almost anything that standard forks should be able to fit into, if that makes sense. So the width is really good. Kind of sucks that they're not adjustable, but it is what it is. A couple of the reasons I made these homemade is obviously the cost. Looking at what other people charge for forks is just ridiculous. I can't believe people even pay that. Just for forks, it's the most simple thing that you can have for an attachment. I'm not paying somebody, $600 to over $2,000 for some of these forks. I just don't get it. Another thing too is my Coyote only lifts about 1,000 pounds, give or take, and so the heavier your forks are, or your assembly for your forks. The heavier that is, the less payload you're going to be able to lift up anyways. I wanted to make this as light as possible. I've never weighed this, but it can't be, I can't lift this whole thing up by myself. These forks are pretty heavy, but this whole thing can't be more than 200 pounds. I almost guarantee it's less than that. But that's my favorite thing about these forks, is that the ones that you buy from, you know, dealerships or stores or online or whatever, they always have, which theirs are adjustable, so then there's more parts there, but then it's just more weight. And then they always have that thing coming up, that big guard thingy that your you know, whatever you're lifting up can lean against it. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank on that, but I don't have one of those on this, obviously. And it kind of doesn't matter, because if you're slow and you know what you're doing, you don't need that support on there to support what you're lifting. So I've never needed it, and it's just extra weight. No point in having a 1,000-pound lift capacity and then putting a 600-pound set of forks on, and then all you can move is 400 pounds worth of material. That's stupid. So all that extra crap that you see is just too flashy for me. I don't need it. Anyway, so if you're in a confined space with this thing, look how short that is. So I can literally lift the forks all the way up in the air until it's, you know, as high as the loader can go. Whereas if you had that mass protector guard on here, you could only go as high as that guard is. So even if you're not lifting anything, but you're using these forks and like some chain to lift up an engine block inside of a garage or something, this is awesome, because you can go really high with it without you know, hitting the ceiling or whatever. And that's only, you know, we're looking at 21.5 inches is all. So it's kind of a cool little simple design. I mean, you can't get any easier than that. And I gotta say, because of these forks, every time that I get, you know, kind of fed up with making payments on that tractor every month, every time I use these forks, that feeling completely disappears, and it's completely worth it. I've used these forks more than I've used anything on that tractor, and it's incredibly nice to just drive around town and find free pallets and then throw a bunch of crap on the pallets, and you can move it around all you want. And you don't have to do any lifting or, you know, whatever. It's just so easy to store stuff, and you can't beat it. These forks have been one of the most useful things I've ever had. And to be able to make this for 90 bucks is pretty awesome too. Now, I got lucky at this auction getting these 2 plates for 90 bucks a piece, but you can even buy these plates new and have them shipped, and I think online they range from like 170 to maybe 250 a piece, which isn't bad. So if you could find a place, you know, that would give you a free set of forks, maybe even a scrapyard might have some, I don't know. If you can get some free forks, you can make your own homemade fork attachment pretty cheap. Yeah, so I need to put some weld down on this thing. I'm going to be using my arc welder, but this weld here is so small. These are literally just like tacks. I literally just tapped in these forks so they wouldn't move, and then completely forgot to finish what I was doing, and I've been using them this way for years. And they haven't cracked or broke at all, and that's amazing on its own. Look how little a weld there is right there holding that. Unreal. I used a 240 volt MIG welder just to put these down, and I remember the day I was doing this, it was freezing cold outside and it was windy, and it was blowing all my cover gas away. That must have been why I didn't finish it. But so the welds are terrible anyway. Finish welding these up, and then I'm not gonna paint the forks. Painting forks is a waste of time. Your paint's just gonna get scraped off right away anyway. But I thought about priming this plate and maybe painting it black just to kind of protect the plate. All right, I'm gonna throw this thing outside and put some weld down.